unfortunately, my Twitter messages whenever I go live are kind of the same every time, which is probably not great, actually. Alright, give me a second, one last thing, and send. Alright, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is September 14th, and this is the September 14th TextQuest Devstream. So, today we are going to be dealing with quite a few things, although almost all of it does involve burning things. So, to get started, we are going to focus on getting the Scarecrow and a couple of other objects in the Plains level set up so that you can interact with them, since their content was very old and I've had to update it. So right now it just has an interactive object. So we're going to fix all that. We're also going to set up some interactions with the Scarecrow because it actually has a optional item that you can get. So we'll set that stuff up. We'll also set up some miscellaneous burnings. I think, oh man. Yeah, so the wooden sign is going to have to be set up and burnable. Then the wheat fields. Oh, the wheat fields. How do we want to handle this? Because it probably should allow you to burn it. Much like the Scarecrow. However, well, the wheat field actually might be a little bit different. But with the Scarecrow, I'm planning on punishing you somewhat if you light it on fire. It's going to give you a couple of warnings saying that it's not a good idea to light a Scarecrow on fire in the middle of a wheat field while you're inside of the wheat field. And if you just keep pushing through, eventually you'll light the Scarecrow on fire and then you'll die a horrible fiery death. Because, well, you lit a Scarecrow on fire in the middle of a very flammable wheat field. So, let's go ahead and take a look. I think I'm done setting up all of the information now. I believe, anyway. So, let's go ahead and, let's see, so that's a Scarecrow. Here is, no, that should be fine. So burn info, we're going to set our burn duration up for, I'm going to say 10 seconds, actually. So this one's actually going to be pretty amusing because it's going to be a massive particle effect that's the entire field, basically. And it's probably going to kill you. I guess in theory you could escape really quickly, but chances are you'll die before you get to the end of the actual burning. So, all right, let's go ahead and start downloading some of this stuff because we are going to need to. Silver Bell, I think, is actually fine. Plain sign, I believe, is set up. Correct? Yes. At least it looks like it. All right, let's go ahead and download this one too. So replace existing files, unwrap single row sheets, cell arrays, sheet arrays, and that should be good. Same thing, replace existing files, single rows, cell and sheet arrays, and then we're good. All right, so let's go ahead and download that JSON. Download this one. All right, let's see here. We're going to want to pull this information into here, I'm going to say. Yeah. We got some. You're not that old. Interesting. That means that I did export from it at some point. Wow, that's a super nasty one, though. It has a lot of information that's not necessary. Okay. Oh, that means that it's actually super old. Ugh. Well, we're going to get rid of that, so. Actually, we'll probably just get rid of this entire folder. So let's go ahead and get rid of a couple of things. And, all right. So let's see where these are. Show and Finder. So we have plain sign coming in here, and the other one was Scarecrow. Make sure we delete that. Scarecrow. Cool. So let's go ahead and put this on. Nope, didn't grab it. There we go. Clear this, hit update. Any errors? Nope. All the verbs look good. making sure. All right. You know what? I wonder if that's... That's fine. All right. So, what to do here? I don't know why I'm asking myself that because we haven't actually done much yet. Here we go. So, we're going to go ahead and apply Scarecrow here. Hit update. Oh, and actually, you know what I do need to do is I need to update my IDs. I knew I forgot something. Let's go ahead and download this. So download as CSV. So I need to grab my collection manager for our planes. Show this in Explorer. Need our Scarecrow, so we want data ID planes. Data ID planes. Go ahead and replace this. Delete it so that we can easily grab it. And then just update. Cool. So let's go ahead and update our Scarecrow again, just so that we make sure that everything... Oh, that's interesting. Really? Burning ID doesn't want to update, huh? That's... That's interesting. Does that mean that it didn't go through? Scarecrow burned, Scarecrow burned. It's burned twice? Alright, well, let's just reset it then. There we go. It must have cached it. It's a little weird. Alright then. Wow, it really does not like... It really doesn't like having me use that context command. Alright. In any case, let's go ahead and update that again. So, update. There we go. That's correct. And let's update this again, and there we go. Alright, so we don't have any... Oh, crud. I forgot to set the burn duration on that. Whoopsie. Let's go ahead and set that real quick, and then I'll just manually adjust it in here. Burn info. 5 seconds is probably enough. Alright, so we'll make that 5. And we'll go ahead and just actually edit this in our script. So we'll make that 5. Save that out. Should be good. That sound. It seems that my headset just died again. So if I stop talking, my guy will still talk. Give me a second. I wish I knew what caused this. I don't know what does it, but I know that it can... It doesn't always happen, but it seems to happen frequently, at least once per stream. But then it doesn't happen again. I've never had it happen twice. It's just a weird bug. Okay. And it no longer affects OBS. It used to affect OBS until I figure out how to fix it. But I haven't had to fix it. So, who knows? It's just being weird, I guess. In any case, so, burn targets and all that fun stuff. So we need to set up burn effects to actually, burn our sign down and all that. So I'm going to grab a quick drink. And before we do that, let's go ahead and just do a quick dry run. Also, we can delete our rusty key because that is no longer necessary. The rusty key is an item that we get in the game, but it's not supposed to be in the planes level. So let's go ahead and... Oh, you know what? I probably need to set up... Yeah, I need to set up the wheat, too. Oh. I don't know why I stopped playing. Well, in any case, I guess I can at least move my player spawn test spawn point. Let's go ahead and move you up here. Up. Hit F here. Move you by increments of 1, 2. That's pretty funny. So we'll do 10 and rotation of 90. Yeah, that seems correct. Let's go down by 1. That's good. All right. So that's a good test spawn point. Puts us right in the center of the action so we don't have to worry about running everywhere. So we should be able to look at the side and read it, or look at the sign. So let's do read sign. It says Williams Cabin to the east, Crowther Canyon to the south, and Don Woods to the west. All right. So let's go over here to the Scarecrow. Dusty old Scarecrow. Oh, you know what I did forget to do? I forgot to make the sign require a lantern for you to burn it. Okay, so that's something that's going to be necessary. So let's just go ahead and say examine. Number of stitches. Insult. I don't remember all the things that I can do. So we might actually pull out a duplicate of our lantern. So let's see here. Let's go to our item database, which are somewhere. Oh, I suppose I should go over this real quick. Last night I finally did the level name system that I talked about I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks ago. So now I have a list of level IDs and level names, and it just so happens that a lot of times they're the same thing. But this drop down on the right is actually a list of our build scenes. So you can see that splash fade is in there, main menu, castle, castle exit, sewers. It's all done in the same order that they are in the build settings. And then our main menu, these are actually just level IDs. So the drop down on the left is a enum, and the drop down on the right is a custom attribute that I've written to let you grab scenes from the build settings super easily. That way I don't have to manually type in these string names. So now I can pretty easily rename my scenes if I need to, and I don't have to worry about going into a script and changing a constant string variable. I can just manually do it here in a scriptable object, and it makes it a lot easier. So let's go ahead and continue on to our, there it is, item database. And where are you? I want my lantern. Lantern. There you are. So we're just going to drag it out here, and we'll put it over here. Let's just go ahead and move it to like right about there. It's fine, I think. Cool. And you know what? While we're talking about it, let's go ahead and let's close some of our older stuff. So we need to change our plain sign and then required items. So this is going to be our lantern. The verb is going to be light. The output will be default. Data ID. This is an interesting one. I don't think I need to set one for that. So require equipped will be true, and always require will be true. Cool. So actually, also just to make sure that I'm not going to go crazy. Ah, there it is. See, I thought so. Yeah, I'm working off of some older script, or not older scripts, but older sheets, so they don't always have all of my fields that I need. So that's going to be true as well. And let's see. Scarecrow should probably have the same thing, so let's go ahead and go over here. Let's just copy this, and we'll paste this in. So now we can download all of that again. So let's go ahead and clear this out. Let's hit export and export. While those are exporting, we can find our objects here, show and explore, and then we can just replace them. Come up here. Download our JSON again. All right, grab you, and is it going to be at the bottom? It's not going to be at the bottom. Okay, Scarecrow, place file, delete the original, and what was the other one? Plain sign. All right, go ahead and let that compile again real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and just update this. direction sign. Let's go ahead and update again. Scarecrow. Go ahead and update that. Save that out. And now, I'm also going to just go ahead and... Wait, really? I thought I had a prefab of this. Didn't I? Fire effect. I could have sworn... just a second. Let's go to our Grove level, because I know I set one up there. Yeah, if I could find my own scenes, which apparently I can't do. Let's see, Heroes Grove. So one of our torches should have a reference to a fire effect that it spawns in, and we can just use it. So let's go ahead, come over here. Oh, we can also remove these two things. I didn't realize I had left these in. Let's go ahead and delete those. And courage. Let's see, fire effects. Oh, did I really just put it below it? I guess I did. Interesting. Well, I guess there's no reason why I couldn't just do that, but I could have sworn. Oh, right. The log has it. I remember. The log is the thing that has to spawn it in. Let's see. Log. U. Fire effect. So it's just called fire. Then why didn't you show up? I don't know. I don't know what it is with Unity's like context search, but it's not unusual for it to just not show something of the type that you're looking for. I don't know why it does that, but that's not the first time it's done it. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and save. Alright, so... where are you? Dang it, I lost it already. Ah, there it is, fire. So, let's go to Objects, Direction Sign. For now, we're just going to use the default fire effect. And I don't actually remember if we have to specify a burn target. Who knows? We'll find out. So we're going to try burning the sign. If I was smart, I would have just had it default to itself, but chances are it wasn't smart. So who knows? Take, hold, and light lamp. Okay, and then burn lamp. That's interesting. So it, okay. Well, let's take a look at that, shall we? All right, so interactive object. Oh, right. Duh. It's because I forgot to do something very important, which is set our verbs to say light. So if we go to our verbs for this and we go to light output, we change our output from text only to light, then it will probably work. So let's go ahead and save that. Come on. There we go. Let's take this. Oh, right. Hold and light lamp. Burn with lamp. Oh. Wait, no. I changed it. Interesting. Then why are you not doing it? Alright. I'll bite. Let's see. Ignite. Peak definition. Burning effect is we request the burning effect from the pool manager. Then we ignite it. And we set our burning ID is equal to true. So that's weird. Okay. Why doesn't it work then? Let's go ahead and throw in a debug here. Debug.log. Oops. Test. See what happens. because it should totally be falling through and actually burning the sign. Also, I guess I can check what Ignite does for burn target. Whatever. I guess it's not terrible for me to just drag itself in here. So let's go up here to burn target and cow. Alright. So now we should at least be able to see if it falls through to it. So take hold and light lamp. Burn with lamp. Oh. Okay. Oh, I bet. Okay. So it was because it was probably getting instantiated at 000, which was below me, so I just didn't notice it. That's fair. All right, so let's go ahead and. Oh, well, that's interesting. Remove that. I don't know why it has a additional vertex streams thing. Let's go ahead and call this burn target. I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees, negative 90 degrees, and assign that here. That way our fire burns up. And let's see. The other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and say interactive object here. Let's go to definition. Start coroutine, burn coroutine, go to definition. And while we're at it, why don't we also say burning effect dot cache transform dot set parent null. So the reason I'm doing that is because most of the time the burn targets on these objects are going to be below that object itself, and if the object is recycled, then it will also prematurely terminate the burning effect because it won't have time for the burning effect to actually wind down. It would just like out of existence like the fire just did. All right, so I'm also going to do this. So we're going to say if I don't remember if I have a thing for this. Hold on, let me see. I thought I had something that let me know if I had a pooled object. I probably should add one. So let's go ahead and go to definition. And I suppose we'll look for get pool. So pool tag dot get pool ID prefab. This I think adds itself. Right. So yeah, so it'll start pooling it that way, which is not expressly what I want. So I'm going to actually add a function in here. We're going to call it public static bool is pooled game object prefab. And this is just going to go ahead and comment this so I don't forget what it is in the future. The game object to check for that's terrible. To check pooling status on. Returns true if the given object is supposed to be poolable. All right, so all we're going to do here is we're just going to say first if not exists, return false, which is just me saying that if the pool doesn't exist, then we can't really do anything. So next, we're going to do this, basically. So we're gonna say return pool ID does not equal 0. So if the pool ID is not equal to 0, that means that it's a pooled object. Otherwise, it is not a pooled object. So we can just delete it. So I need that distinction here because I don't want to start pooling objects that aren't meant to be pooled, because then I would just basically slowly start accruing objects that are disabled that will never be cleared, really. They'll just keep accruing. So we're going to say if pool manager dot is pooled. I think I can just say game object, correct. Do I have a cached game object? I don't. I should. So I'm going to go ahead and go all the way up here. Let's see, cache transform. Let's say private game object, cache game object. I guess, no, that's kind of pointless, isn't it? Because I think the item actually has a cached game object, but it doesn't really make sense for the base interactive object to do that, because most of them aren't going to recycle themselves. So we'll just say game object. So if it is pooled, then we are going to do this. Else, we will simply destroy game object. Oh, actually, you know what? I probably should also do something like this. Parser dot remove interacted objects. This. Let me make sure that I have a safety check in there. Okay, that's good. Cool. So now, when it's destroyed by the fire, it should actually just be deleted. It shouldn't be in the pool or anything like that. And we should have a right side up burn target that doesn't, or a burn effect that does not go away as soon as the object is destroyed. Eventually I'm going to have to figure out a much nicer burning effect, like maybe it dissolves away or something, but for now it's fine to just have it like out of existence. So hold and light lamp, burn with lamp. And there we go. See? Nice and simple. So make sure that we don't have any pools for it. Good. Well, there we go. So that is essentially all we needed to do to get the lantern. Or to get the, not the lantern, to get the sign burning. Although I'm actually curious. I don't remember if I set it up to automatically destroy itself if it's burned. So let's try that actually. I'm going to go to the canyon and then come back. Also go ahead and mute the audio because I know that I don't like the sound of the ambience in the canyon and plains levels. Definitely need to re-record those. Well, remake them entirely pretty much. Alright, so let's go back. Start. Came back. Okay. That probably means that I need to... So in start for interactive object. Really? Alright. Let's go ahead and say private void. No, probably private virtual void start. We're going to say, hello. Oh, I can't do private, protected virtual void start. And then we're going to say if burn, is it burn ID? Nope, burn type does not equal burn type dot none. Then we're going to say if let me see here. I could have sworn that I have something for this, but I could also just have made it for our torches. Container torch, interactive object, ignite. Yeah, looks like I only did it for torch. Well, alright. Let's go ahead and fix that then, shall we? So if our burning type is not equal to none, then we're just going to say if, I will do a switch statement. Burn type. Ooh. Burn type. Case burn type. Oops. Dot permanent. Then we're going to do something else. Case burn type dot temporary. Then we're going to go ahead and break. All right, so we're going to say if burned ID. Oh, can't do that yet. Let's say session dot get bool burned ID. Then we are going to basically do our little recycle jig here. So where are you? Where are you? You're down here. There we are. So that's our burn code routine. So we're just going to save this. Scroll all the way down here. So if the burn type was temporary, that means that it's not meant to burn forever, which means that after it's done burning, it should destroy itself. So we're going to say, okay, are you supposed to be a temporary burn? If so, has your burned ID been set to true? That means that you've been destroyed already, so we need to just burn you out of existence. Now, if somehow, so this is a good question. I think I'm actually just going to double up on that and say or session.getBool burning ID. Just because I was thinking, you know, maybe if you burn something, then run out of the room, like to a different scene, and then come back, it should still be burning. But I guess that doesn't really make sense, because you would be, well, it would have been burning for however long you would need to be away, and then it would just burn for like 5 seconds when you got back, and then disappear again. So not the best, I don't think. All right. So yeah, I'm just going to have it destroy itself if either its burning or burned ID has been set to true. And if it's permanent, then we're just going to say if session.getBurning or getBool burning ID, then we will ignite. Okay. Because it's not supposed to stop burning, so it should start burning as soon as you come back in the scene. Okay, so let's go ahead and just real quick. So for ignite, I do set my, yep, good. Good. Let's see, burn, extinguish. Okay, good. Everything should be good. While that compiles, I'm going to take a drink. All right. Ooh. Gotta wait for it to compile. And now we can test. So we're going to burn the sign, go to the canyon, and then come back. So let's go ahead and take, oops, hold and light lamp, burn with lamp. Oh, I was like, why can't I hear it? Oh yeah, it's because I muted everything. Okay, we're going to let that go. Let's go ahead and run off to the canyon. Then we'll have to run back. I really got to think about what I want to have the end of this road look like. Because originally I kind of had the... Ooh, why are we stuck? Okay, never mind. Originally I had the mountain and the trees come together like I do here. And I like this aesthetic, but at the same time I don't know if it really works. I don't know if I should do like some sort of corner so you can't see around it. And I don't know. That probably wouldn't hurt. Hooray! It's gone. That's what we wanted. Although we do have a fun little problem here now. So it's a little hard. Let's go ahead and equip lamp. All right. So it's a little hard to see, but you can, if you squint, it might be harder to see, like really hard on the Devstream. But you can see like a dark splotch here. That is the shadow for the for the sign. And that's because the sign is static. It's light map static, so it's not supposed to move, and it doesn't. But it can be destroyed now by burning. So that actually means that anything that's burnable needs to be real-time lighting only. That's going to be fun. Which essentially means that, oh yeah, I don't have a sun that you can look at, but there's a directional light in the scene, and you can sort of tell the angle that it's at based on shadows. But basically it means that I need to make it be mixed so that it will bake lights for things like buildings, environment, structures, pretty much anything that's supposed to be permanent and can't be moved or affected by the player. But it needs to be mixed so that real-time lighting can affect things like doors that are supposed to move, like you can see there, or the wheat field, or the scarecrow. Well, the scarecrow is a sprite, so it actually doesn't get lighting. But anything that's supposed to be affected by the player, i.e. destroyed or burned or moved, needs to be real-time lighting, which is actually something you can see over here. So these windows, which I guess are somehow old still, these windows are static, but this one that you're supposed to interact with is not. And you can tell that there is a huge difference there in lighting. And that's because I have yet to master the art of light mapping, specifically mixing baked and real-time light maps. I really am bad at that, which is why my shed door looks so crappy compared to everything else on the shed. So we're going to have to take a more real-time lighting approach than I initially would have guessed. But I suppose that makes sense, because I'm going to be burning a lot of stuff. Okay. So, that's interesting. It kind of makes me wonder. We can't really switch that on the stream, because that would require a light map rebake, and, well, that's, as we've discussed, it's boring to watch a light map bake on the stream. So we're gonna go ahead and stop playing. Ugh, this whole thing. I don't know why it does this. So what all do we need to do for this? Well, I suppose the first thing I can do is make this not be light map static. At which point, I wonder if I can, I probably could keep everything else about it that's static, which I mean right now is just the occludey static, because I don't really need anything else. I could probably turn on batching static, whatever. So I don't have to make it completely non-static, but it just means that light maps can't be static. They have to be real-time. So it's not the end of the world, but it does mean we're going to get some harsher edges. And it also means that I'm going to have to eventually, probably not going to do that tonight, but eventually figure out a good lighting solution that makes real-time lit objects with normal maps not look like crap. Because this is what, let me scroll over here. So this is what a baked light map looks like on an object with normal maps. Like everything looks nice, there's a richness to the texture. And this is what it looks like without that, without the light hitting it. It's still got some texture, but it kind of looks sickly. And you know what makes it even worse is that these two things should be the same color. So if I select this object, you can see that this is our albedo map. And if we look at our, I guess we'll have to go to the cabin for this, log wall, it's going to be the same shade of brown. But that's how much light can make a difference. It looks like the door is kind of like rotten wood or something, but it's just not lit very well, and light probes apparently are not doing a good job for it. So that's something that I will eventually have to figure out to properly set things up, and I would like to start looking at that stuff soon, because as we start getting into these types of levels that are outside, light maps I know become a huge problem. Like light maps for outside areas have always been really, really annoying, and I need to come up with a good solution for it. So I'm going to have to do a lot of research to see what I can what I can find to hopefully make a better lighting situation in here. In any case, let's go ahead and set up some particle effects for our. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let's go ahead. Let's make our. Let me think. Actually, can I come up with a uniform particle effect that could be used on anything that's burnable? Probably not. I feel like I would have to try to map it to the mesh itself somehow. Which actually might be a thing that we can do. I don't exactly know how to do it off the top of my head, but let's go ahead and take a look at our direction sign here. Grab our fire effect. I'm going to drag this into here right now. That's okay. Weird. Oh my goodness. Are you all scaled? No friggin' way. But you are. That's terrible. Okay. Wait. Hold on. Hold everything. Huh. Shrink you down to 1. So that's why it looked... Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Shrink you down. Let's go ahead and revert this prefab. Simulate. So it looked like it was all in one straight line because the scale was off. So that actually explains a lot. Although before I do anything else, I want to turn on my trigger here. Where on earth are you? Teeny tiny? You're teeny tiny. Okay. Let's do a radius of 1. It's not bad. This is a collider that'll essentially, well, trigger that will essentially overlap with the player when you light stuff on fire. Well, not necessarily overlap with the player. It'll overlap the object itself when you set things on fire. And if you step into the fire range, you'll take damage. And if you just stay there for like 5 seconds, you'll die. And it will be very obvious that you are standing in fire. So let's go ahead and we're gonna affect our fire particles so that they sort of like blast out a little bit more. Okay. Let's look at our emission, shape. Do I want it to be... it's not terrible. I think we're going to go ahead and expand our cone a little bit, though. So we'll have a radius of 0.1. I do 1. Ooh, that's too much. 0.25. Get a little bit sort of randomness in our actual spawning. Let's see, what else do we need to do? It's not bad. I'm probably going to have to do the same thing, though, on everything else below it. So 0.25. And then 0.25. Go ahead and stop it and simulate it. So we get a little bit of better randomness to it. That feels a little bit better. I probably should have stuff like smoke and such, but this is fine for now. It's certainly a much more pleasing effect because it's got width to it. It's not just like a vertical straight line of burning things. All right. And let's go ahead and apply those changes real quick. So stop you. Let's hit apply. I'm also going to turn on my audio. I want to listen to this, make sure that we actually are getting burning effect sounds. Because, you know, when you light things on fire, you should hear the satisfying sound of the crackling. So let's go ahead and take this, hold and light, lamp. So burn with lamp. Okay, good. So yeah, I definitely think we're going to have to come up with some sort of solution to have it wrap the object, just because it's kind of... I really don't want to have to make a prefab every single time I need a lighting or a burning effect. I would prefer to have something that is capable of adapting to different shapes, basically using like a mesh reference to kind of figure out where it should go. I'm actually kind of curious, so let's go to shape. Can I give it a mesh? Oh, I can. Let's actually, excuse me, let's take a look at that. So let's change this from an emission shape of a cone to a mesh renderer. So if I give you this, well, it kind of starts flinging off. That's not terrible. Let's go ahead and assign it to the other ones as well. So we'll go ahead and make this a mesh renderer. Give it the same thing. Same for our fire red mesh renderer and our model. So now everything should be coming off of the mesh. And it's curious that it's going off in a random direction. That kind of makes me wonder if I can control that. Would that be force? Color over lifetime? No. Renderer? No. That's all fine. Normal offset. So it's using the normals on the actual mesh to determine direction. But that doesn't help me any. Mesh colors, huh? Modulate particle color with the mesh vertex color, or if they don't use the shader color property. Huh. Well, I guess I don't really need that, but that's a cool thing to know about. So you can actually sample colors of the vertices on the mesh. Interesting. Can I not? What does edge do? Oh, okay, I get it. So this is just determining the points of origin. So when we were doing vertex, they're coming from all of the possible vertex points on here, the vertices, which would be the corners of the sign, the bottoms, and then this sort of inset here, where the post is. So let's go ahead and go back here. So we can change it to be the edges, which means that it'll come along basically all of the edges, which for the most part is going to be the same. You're not really going to notice much of a difference there, I don't think. Or you could make it triangles, which are going to be, I'm guessing, the actual center of the triangles. So we should see some coming like here and here and here and all that. Yeah, so they'll be coming off of the faces themselves. Oh, there's a good one. Happened like right there. So yeah, you can see that it's coming basically off of the triangle itself. Dang it, so we can't, so we can emit from the mesh, but can we do anything to, maybe we have to do force over lifetime. So, rate over time, speed, start speed. So if we shut this down to 0, oh crud, I'm going to have to, well, that's fine. So currently we're going to look at our yellow one. We're going to ignore, I'm going to actually shut off our orange and red ones. So we're just going to look at our yellow ones. So you can see that we're not moving from where they spawn. And that's fine, because what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just apply force to these. So, well, maybe we can try to do velocity over lifetime. That'll work too. That's better than force, actually. So essentially we need to not use speed. We instead need to use velocity over lifetime. And we can just make that a constant. I think it was 2 before. But now it's always going to flow up. It's not going to shoot off randomly based on the normals of the mesh. So let's go ahead and turn on our fire and our, well, fire orange and red. And let's change some stuff. So we'll make them triangle oriented as well. And we'll apply velocity over lifetime as 2, and we'll set our start speed to be 0. Sweet! That is much better. So now, well, we're not quite done, because I need to assign that mesh renderer whenever I instantiate the fire effect. So, okay, let's go up here to our base object. Let's close some of this, shape and emission, so that's all fine. I'm going to also go ahead and rename this to fire, how about burn effect actually? So burn effect, cool. And where to put it? For now, I'm just going to stick it in the grove. I'll figure out a better place in a little bit. But I wanted to make sure that I made that a new prefab and I didn't overwrite the old prefab. So it's still a fire effect. I probably should turn off our collider as well. Hit apply there. Okay. So what do we need to do next? We need to. Do I need to do smoke? Probably wouldn't hurt. Nah. Let's go ahead and try to figure out a good way to actually set up the mesh renderer that it's going to be wrapping. So let's see here. We have fire damage, which currently isn't really going to do anything. So I'm going to rename this to, instead of fire damage, we're going to call this not duration, death time. I don't know what else to call it. Basically, the amount of time that it will take to kill the player. So death time, honestly, is all I can think of. Also, that's a hilarious name. I just kind of want to have a variable called death time. So we'll give it a tooltip, and we'll say how long it takes to kill the player while the player is standing in this effect. All right. So we'll also bump that up to like 5 seconds by default. Before it was more of like a damage over time sort of deal, but now it's just kind of like a countdown to death. So the next thing we'll want to do is, okay, so I need to do public particle system, and I guess we'll call this particles. So the trick here is that I'm going to have to set the mesh renderer on all of these particle systems. So let's see if we can do this. So on Ignite, let's find, actually no, before we do that, let's go ahead and just add a public void function. So we're going to say public void, void set mesh target. We're going to pass along a mesh renderer. I'll call it mesh. And then we'll say for int I equals 0. If I could type, I is less than particles dot count. Oops, it's a length thing, isn't it? Length I plus plus. And we're going to say if particles dot. Oh geez, this is going to be interesting. Is it get module? Oh geez, this, can I not specify this? Oh, that would be really annoying. Let me think what to do about this. Particles dot, I thought there was a way to get the separate modules. Let's see, set value. That's interesting. Initialize, get value. Oh, it's because those are arrays. Duh. That's what I was doing. I was trying to adjust something on the array itself, not the individual elements. Ugh, I don't know why I did that. It's been a long day. So let's look for shape. Okay, shape dot. Is that a bool? No. All right. So was it mesh? Mesh to emit particles from. So mesh renderer. But I guess actually, should I maybe make sure that I want to do that first? Because I don't, most of the time I am going to want to map it to a mesh, but sometimes I won't. Case in point, the particle effect that we're going to set up for the scarecrow when you burn it is going to affect the entire wheat field. So I don't want it to burn just the scarecrow. So I can't assume that we're going to, target the mesh renderer here. Can I really not tell where it should go? Surely there's a like shape.type or something. Shape type? Yes. Okay. So if the shape type is equal to mesh renderer. If I could spell mesh renderer, geez. Okay, that's good. So if that's the case, then we're going to actually do this. Oh, and you know what? Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put that outside the for loop, because there's no point in even looping through the for loop multiple times if I'm not going to do anything. So we're just going to go ahead and say if particles of 0 is set to be that. And that's because if the initial particle is not set up to do that, I'm going to assume that the rest of them are not trying to target a mesh. So let's go ahead and leave it like that. So it means that I have to have a little bit more of a specific setup in, when I'm actually setting up burning effects, but it means that I don't have to worry about trying to, do a per module thing. So, all right, let's go ahead and say particles of I dot shape dot mesh renderer is equal to mesh. Will you let me do that? Nope. Yeah, I was worried about that. Jeez. This is why it's a nightmare to do anything with particle systems. So the way the particle systems work is like everything's a submodule. So like the shape is a submodule. The emission is a submodule. Everything's a submodule. And that makes it incredibly easy to look for information, but it makes it a nightmare to set information. So particles, can I just do dot mesh renderer? I can't. Of course not. All right, let's look for this. Set custom particle data. Nope, that's not what I want. Let's see, what can I grab here? Color over lifetime, duration, emission. Do I have? No, emission shape. No, just emission. This is rather frustrating. What makes it even worse is that I know that it's arbitrary that Unity does this. This is one of those things where Unity just decided to do it like this, because you can actually use system reflections to get into it and set it manually. People have done that. I have not done that, and I probably wouldn't do that directly on the stream because I wouldn't exactly know what I'm doing. But that might be something that I have to do eventually. So, can I really not? This is infuriating. It's all get. Of course it is. Alright, let's see. Play, pause. I'm just trying to see if I can find something that will let me actually do this. Of course not. Trigger particles, shape, simulation space, side by speed. Stop submitters. Trigger use. Of course not. Ugh. Great. Let me look something up real quick. So Unity Unity particle system set mesh renderer. It's infuriating. In script. So like there's a bunch of results for. Oh wow. Come on, Unity. Okay, I don't know if that's good or bad. Unity's down. So, particle system, material, sure, script. Yeah, I'm guessing that I'm going to have to actually just dig into it. Oi. Of course. Well, that's incredibly annoying. I mean, like the most annoying thing I can think of right now. I could try to just dig into that myself. That's really infuriating. Like, incredibly infuriating. Oh, wait. Oh, I might know what I can do here. Okay. This is something that I haven't done in a while, but it could be pretty fun. All right. So I can't set these particles exactly the way in the most convenient way. Like I can't tell them that their mesh render needs to be this. But I can probably come up with a custom inspector for this. So there's something that I've done in the past, which this is going to be insane if I can recreate it on the stream, considering how long it took me the first time. So in the past, I have written, not for TextQuest, but for work, a editor that will actually look at prefabs and serialize all of that information on the object that's referencing the prefab. And then I can basically load information into a prefab and use that prefab in multiple spots, each having its own distinct settings for that prefab without knowing what the settings are. And because essentially what I'm doing is I'm serializing the information that the prefab has into a JSON string that Unity can internally serialize stuff into JSON. So I serialize it into that string, and then when I get the prefab, I just force load all of that JSON into it, and it basically forces the prefab to be what I need it to be. So let's see if we can do that. That's going to be interesting. Essentially what I'm going to have to get access to is I'm going to have to get access to this. So on our burn info here, once we assign a burn effect, I will have a field for the mesh renderer, essentially, on all of its sub particle emitters. Oh boy, that's going to be interesting. Actually, no, I can't do it that way, can I? Because it serializes instance IDs. Ah, crap. Dang it. That would have been super cool. The main drive for that is that it lets me use one prefab and multiple values on arbitrary game objects without the game objects knowing what values they need to set. But it saves instance IDs for object references, and that doesn't really work very well because every time I enter the scene, everything's going to have a different instance ID. Although I guess I can test that, so let's go ahead and we're going to apply these changes to burn effect. Let's delete this. And we're just going to play, then take a look at our direction sign, make sure its GUI ID or GUID is unique. We'll take a note of it, and then we'll leave the scene and come back. And I think it'll be different, but if it's not, then actually things might be consistent, at which point I don't really need to worry about that. So in any case, let's go ahead and I guess I'm not going to do with that anyway. Let's go ahead and pause. There you are. Let's go to debug. So I think we're going to want to have instance ID and local identifier in file just to be safe. So let's go ahead and we'll just store those over here. So, and I need to make sure that I don't save so I don't actually force a recompile. Okay, so those two values. Then let's go ahead and run off to the canyon and come back, and we'll see if those are the same. I'm also curious to see what happens to our inspector actually once we transition scenes, because I assume it'll just blank out, but you never know. Okay, yeah, that's what I expected. Let's go ahead and mute that, because that is definitely an annoying sound. It also shouldn't be that loud, actually. It should be something like 50% of as loud as it is. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're stuck at 100%. No! No, it's because of my hubris. It's because I wanted to... Wait, what the heck? Where even are you? You're just falling. Great. Well, in any case, I really need to figure out what does that. Sometimes, for some arbitrary reason, it seems like the game just doesn't finish loading. But as you can see, there were no errors. So I don't really know what happened there. That's kind of weird. In any case, let's take a look at our direction sign again. So 79324. 79324, that's correct. Alright. I'm going to also go ahead and let's go to normal here. I'm going to save this. And I'm going to close and then open Unity. I just want to make sure that the GUI ID is actually still going to be the same, because I thought that it changed. Like everything's generated when you open Unity, and then those are the same. But I don't know if that's true for after you close it and then reopen it. So let's go ahead and close Unity and then reopen it. And while that's happening, I'm going to take a drink. So if our instance ID is the same, so 79324, then we'll move forward with my initial plan of having a super fancy JSON serializer. And while we're waiting, I can talk a little bit about ARKit, I guess. Or not. It came up again. So that's still compiling. I've been messing with ARKit at work, and it's pretty cool what you can do with some of that stuff. Although, for some reason, Unity launched ARKit, or its support for ARKit, with a pretty nice app that lets you basically send data from your phone to the editor. But for some reason, Unity's ARKit remote app doesn't send touches, so you can't test anything. You can just look at stuff. It's infuriating. So I had to spend most of today actually writing a thing that would send touches across that interface. In any case, so let's take a look at our sign. Go to our inspector, debug. There it is. See, different IDs. That's what I was worried about, because when we serialize object references, we use the instance ID, but we can't use an instance ID that changes. I suppose we can check this. Is our local identifier and file the same? It looks similar. So that's the same. I wonder if we could use that instead. That's going to be super interesting. Okay. So that seems to persist, but our instance ID does not. So instance ID gets rewritten every time Unity is opened. But what was that? Our local identifier and file? Yeah, local identifier and file. That is always unique, I'm guessing. So we can try to use that. All right. Well, let's do it. Let's go ahead and try it. So, man, how to go about doing this? This is going to be interesting. Oh, that won't really work. Ah, crap. No, that definitely won't work, now that I think about it. I have to serialize individual information per object, which means that for every single particle system in our burning effect, or in our burn effect, I would have to make a JSON blob to properly store it. Oh, right. I was going to say, why is it wrong? It's because it's not using that. Ah, dang it. Freaking Unity, why do you make this more difficult than it needs to be? So, this is actually made all the more infuriating by the fact that for some reason it's not having its velocity over lifetime applied to it. Or maybe it is. Let me go ahead and try and... God, that's infuriating. Alright. So, what do we do about this then? Infuriating. Great. There has to be a way to do this. So, give me a second here. Let's take a look at this. We will try to find this. So, we need to look at accessing the emitter mesh through script. That's actually exactly what I want. Let's see. So reference to variables and other modules, and the initial module. Oy. You have got to be kidding me. That won't work. I can't. So this solution here is using Unity editor stuff, and we can't do that because this has to function at runtime. Great. No freaking. You have got to be kidding me. Oh dear. So we create an empty mesh renderer, and then assign its mesh at runtime. Will that work? Who knows? Let's try it. All right, so let's go ahead and add a mesh renderer. We don't need any materials. We only need the mesh, which I guess means I need to have a mesh filter. So mesh filter. Let's go ahead and move this up. Yes, that's fine. Let's go back to our script for fire effect. Get rid of this stuff. So we're going to have, so instead of doing this, I guess, which is kind of actually not terrible, we're going to have a public reference to a mesh renderer. Public mesh renderer, mesh, and let's come down here. Set mesh target. Now this does get a little annoying if I need to have multiple meshes ever be used for a fire effect, but I don't think I'm going to need to do that really. So we're going to go ahead and say mesh dot, oh, you know what, actually that's not even what I need. I actually need the mesh filter. So mesh filter, mesh. So we're going to say mesh dot mesh. What? Oh, right. This dot mesh is equal to, hey, we're just going to say mesh. Then we're going to pass mesh. Oh, I hit insert. No wonder it was doing weird stuff. Okay. So that's a great line. And you know what? Just for fun, I'm going to rename this to set mesh. So I think this is the most times I've ever had to type mesh in 3 lines. Well, 4 lines of code, I guess. Set mesh, mesh, mesh. This dot mesh, mesh is equal to mesh. That's great programming, let me tell you. All right, so let's go down to, where are you? Interactive object. There we are. And ignite. So we get our burning effect, and then we're going to say burning effect dot set mesh get module mesh model module, sorry, dot, really? Does model module not have a reference to, I guess it doesn't. I probably should have that. So we'll go ahead and add that. So we're going to have public, I want to have mesh filter, array filters, well, we'll call it mesh filters. Mesh filters, is equal to new, mesh filter 0. Then public mesh, not filter, but renderer. Actually, that's crud. That's not actually good. I can't assume that the model module would have meshes below it because items, for example, don't have models. They have sprites. So that's not great. Then how am I going to get this? Well, oh, I know what I can do here. Let's go up to our burning area. So we have burning ID, burn duration, burn target. I'm going to go ahead and say public mesh filter, burn mesh. So we'll go ahead and tooltip this. Tooltip. The mesh to spawn the burn particles around. Okay, so let's come back down here. So instead of using our model here, we're going to say burn mesh. Oh, and that's actually a mesh, so dot mesh. Okay. So I think we can just do that, and it should work. So let's give that a try. And of course I'm going to have to go into debug mode to assign it, but that's fine for now. I'm actually really hopeful about this. So. Hello, Gelmega. Welcome back. How are you doing today? So let's go to debug real quick. And so in our burn mesh, we're going to drag in that. Normal. And so let's come up here to our mesh filter. And we're going to assign our actual renderers. So let's go to, instead of velocity over lifetime, shape. We're going to just assign this. Shape, U, oops, and U. So let's go ahead and apply those changes. Then, so nothing should be happening right now. Are we getting any errors? Because I would hate that to happen. No, we do have a crap ton of warnings, but most of that's assets. I probably can get rid of it, actually. In any case, so let's try that. I am hopeful for this. So, okay, go ahead and take, hold, and light lamp. Burn with lamp. No! Wait, what? Oh! It's because it's using the wrong thing. Okay, let's try that again. Well, planned to do something, did nothing. Well, you know what they say. Men plan, God laughs. It's not unusual to try to plan to do something and then not end up doing it. Hold and light lamp. So burn with lamp. Come on, come on. No, we're so close. No. Wait, hold on. I think I understand. Hold on. Let's rotate this. Yes! Yes, it works! Okay. I know what to do now. So, one, velocity over lifetime, the direction in the Y is the local Y. I was theorizing that was the case, but I didn't know that for certain until I actually righted that. And now we can pass in the mesh information to the mesh filter, to the mesh renderer, to force it to adapt no matter what it is. Although, I have to say, it is incredibly stupid that I have to do that. I have to have an empty mesh renderer on my freaking prefab that has no mesh, just so that I can pass in an actual mesh when I need it to look at a mesh. I just... Sometimes Unity is really, really dumb. Alright. In any case, that has me excited. So, I'm going to go ahead and take a drink. Now we can start burning wheat. Although, actually, let's go ahead and select this prefab. God, what even? Yeah, this is super old. So I'm going to... sorry, sneezed. So I'm going to apply these changes. Right. Oops. So apply this. Select our prefab. We're going to clear it out. Oh, really? Clearing doesn't clear our verbs. I would have thought that it did. Apparently not. Well, whatever. And then we're going to go ahead and get rid of this. None. And the main reason for that is so that I can make sure that all of this is set up. So we're good. Cool. Let's go ahead and save this. So even when I'm going to sleep in about 40 minutes, I'm finally working today. Well, it's past midnight, but you understand what I mean. Well, you know. Like I said in the past, I actually consider a day to last from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. instead of midnight to midnight. Mostly because most people will actually be asleep or awake by 6, but few people will be asleep that are in this field at midnight. Most people will stay up until like to the a.m. like you do, but most don't stay up until 6 a.m. So that's why I've just said 6 to 6. I know that's not how the world works, but that's how I calculate my days. So, all right. So, the wheat field. This is going to be interesting. So, right off the bat, I can guarantee you, this is going to require a different prefab. It is such a massive scale that there's no way we could really do anything with it. So, let's go ahead and say, let's grab our base burn effect. Where are you? You're over there. And we're just going to grab this, move it up to here. So this has to affect the entirety of this field. So we're going to go ahead and go down here. And we have to change some things. So this is going to be burn effect dash wheat field. All right. And let's go ahead and say shape is not going to be mesh renderer. It's going to instead, let's go up here to box will probably be fine, I would think. Let's go to box, and we'll change all of them to box. And all right, so now we can stretch this a lot. So our scale is going to be 10. Oh goodness, no, this is going to be a lot of particle effects. Like, a lot of particle effects. To the point where I'm actually kind of worried about performance. So let's go ahead and bump this up to 40? Looks like 45 probably. Oh, really? Okay, not 45. 42. Ooh. Yeah, that looks good. All right. Yeah, this is going to be so massive. So 45 by probably, actually, you know what? A 1 height is not that bad. I think that's probably fine. And then a depth of, I'm going to guess, like 80. Oh, wow, that was an overestimate. 70? 60. Yeah, that's actually a little bit closer. All right, so let's go ahead and slide you over a little bit. We're going to have an angle. So, actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just grab this game object and parent it to, hold on. I'm going to parent it to you, position it out. And we're just going to rotate it. Because our actual burn effect shouldn't have rotation and all that applied to it. So we need to just grab a parent transform. Although that does make it significantly more difficult to actually tell where everything is. So no one pay attention to me. We'll position this first, I guess. And then we'll just unrotate it after the fact. So we're going to need, in the x-axis, probably not even 15, honestly. Yeah, it's going to be something like, wow, like 2. That's almost correct. 3 degrees. That's probably close enough. I think it's actually something like 2.75 degrees of a difference. But this is fine. Let's go ahead and move it down by 1. That look good. That's good. So that's covering the entire field. So we're going to need, what's the size? 42 by 60. 42 by 60. And we are going to have to up the amount of particles being emitted. Because it's actually pretty small. So let's see. Where is our emission? Oh, right, they're different for each one. So orange is the most plentiful. Let's let's just multiply everything by 10. So 50, 30, and 20. That, oh, dang it, stop doing that. So that's not terrible, but I think we can double that again. Wait, am I limiting how many particles I can have? I am. Let's bump this up to 500. Okay, maybe not. Let's double everything again, though. So 40, 100, and 60. So, not bad. It still doesn't feel like fire, you know? Like it just doesn't feel enough. Do I have this start on awake? I'd like to see what this looks like in game. Let's go ahead and say play on awake and stop. I'm gonna see what this looks like in game. Currently, I really want to finish my hash table. Hash set and the hash map are basically wrappers around it, and then I can start on my string, which will be fun. On your custom implementation of string. So I don't know. This feels kind of underwhelming. Like for the fire effect. I feel like it could be a lot larger. I also feel like I need to have smoke with this. Like definitely need to have smoke with this. Geez, that's gonna be annoying. I'm gonna have to figure out what smoke to have on like every prefab. Like it doesn't look bad here. I think it gets the point across that it's burning, but it just doesn't feel super fiery. So I'm gonna double everything again. And while I'm at it, let's bump our max particles up to 1,000 just for fun. All right, so you're gonna be 80 now, 200, and 120. Let's go ahead and check this out. Ooh. So that's definitely better, but it still feels, just doesn't feel very flamey. Like it's not very impressive. Well, I mean, our audio definitely can go up. Let's go to 3D sound. Max distance needs to go way up. 10. 30. Oh my, no, much larger than that. 40. That's probably better. Less transparent. So that's an effect actually. I could make them last longer, but it's important that they actually fade in and out. Otherwise, they pop in and pop out. So I have to have that transparency at the beginning and end. And you can see that with color over lifetime. It's just this gradient that they quickly become solid at 10%, I think, into their lifespan, and then they gradually fade back out to 0. But I probably could move this to there. So that makes it last a little bit longer. That's actually pretty good. Let's go ahead and apply those changes to our stuff here. So you go to there. So that draws out our visual part of it a little bit longer. There we go. That's starting to get us some nice. So if we look at it, the main thing is the horizon view. So when you look at it, I want it to feel or look like there's a lot of fire and it feels like it's burning. So that's a little bit better of an effect. I think having the sound go off will help with that as well. And just for fun, I can probably turn on play on awake so that we can hear it. Let's go ahead and do that. We might also want to lower our pitch on this to make it sound like it's crackling more. let's go ahead and change our pitch. Dang it, I want to, there we go. Let's go back here. Let's lower our pitch. That's a little too much. 0.5 is not bad. Volume difference doesn't make a difference. Where are... Wait a second, where's our minimum distance? Oh, the distance is controlled by curve? That's odd. Okay, let's just go ahead and do logarithmic roll-off. Let's do a min distance of 30. Oh! Okay. Lower that volume again. Then the real trick is going to be, like, we're going to just hear it forever now. That's my main problem with fall off in Unity. Like, I can't get it to realistically fall off. Which is why I normally have that custom audio fall off. And what's even worse about it is that I'm outside of the max range. I shouldn't hear anything. But in order for that to be true, I have to do that. And then it's very jarring, right? Because at this point I would expect to hear it. But I can't until I get really close. I mean, I can improve that by bumping this up to something like 80. And then basically, I don't know, doing like this. Just kind of messing with it here. So that's a little bit more realistic. But you can see what I'm talking about, right? Or hear what I'm talking about, I suppose. Like at this point, I wouldn't expect to hear anything because it is pretty far away. But then, as I get closer, I should start hearing it more and more. But for some reason, Unity's logarithmic fall off is just abysmal. And it could just be that I'm completely misunderstanding how the audio system should work. But we might also bump up. I guess I need to go see how a burning wheat field sounds. Because I'm fine with that as a temporary placeholder for now. All right. So let's go ahead and turn off the audio. So the next thing after fire is we probably want smoke and lighting, maybe? Maybe. That is kind of going to be tough. I guess we'll skip worrying about the lighting for now. I'm going to go ahead and copy this component so I can make my changes here. So let's go ahead and say 80. What's our distance there? And actually, real quick, I'm just going to play that and see what that sounds like. You've got to be kidding me. I can hear nothing? Oh, right. I keep forgetting that I muted it. That's not bad. Except I have to get really close to the source for it to hear, or to sound loud, so let's go ahead and delete some of this. Wow. Really? That seems a little bit more appropriate. I guess actually I need to fine tune this to like 30-ish, probably. There we go. Let's try that out. God, it's so loud. So 30 is not the answer. Let's bump you down to like 0.3. That's probably good. So to get away from it, you have to be about this far, and then well, all right then. That's not bad. Add a key, 0.3. Okay. So now we need to figure out, let's go ahead and not apply these changes, but move them into this so they're a unique effect. And while we're here, actually, I can probably get rid of these things. So remove you, set you to be none because I don't actually need you. Okay. So, what to do? So we can do smoke effects. Probably wouldn't be too bad. But I'm not entirely sure. Also, I guess I should probably uncheck these play on awake things. There we go. So let me go ahead and apply those changes real quick. Okay. So this is going to be interesting. Let's go ahead and delete this. Oh wait, no. Before I do that, zero all this out. Okay. So let's apply this. Let's go ahead and delete this. So this is our burn point dash wheat field. Cool. The real question is, where should I put that? Let's go ahead and call these burn points. Burn points. Okay. So when I burn either my wheat field or the scarecrow, it's going to light basically the entire field on fire. The question there is, how should I do it all at once? Or should I have it spread? And probably I should actually have it spread from its point of origin, which actually complicates things quite vastly. What to do about that? Well, Well, that's. I mean, all at once is a bit of a misnomer. I mean, it does spread. Fire doesn't just like catch one grain on fire and then the entire field catches on fire. It spreads. Just it spreads very quickly. I think for now it's fine. I think you're right. I think if we just do it all at once, mostly because I honestly don't really know how I would come up with a good way of burning from a source. I don't really know how I would make that look right. So I'm just going to go ahead and have it start burning everything. So let's do that. And let's see here. So let's go to our objects, Scarecrow. All right. So our burn point is here, and our fire effect is burn effect wheat field. It is temporary. That does give us a problem. So this actually brings up an interesting point. Maybe I shouldn't have actual. Right, green plants are still, they have a lot of water in them. But you know what? We might have to rethink how we're going to approach this anyway. So my initial plan was to just once you light it on fire, it burns the entire field. But the problem is that the reverse needs to be true. So if you burn one of the wheat field rows, it should burn the entire field and actually destroy the objects. And that's the trick. Because if you burn the Scarecrow, then you're just going to die. You're too far inland for it to make a difference. You're just going to take all the damage you can and then just die. So if I try to... Oh, right, I need my lamp. So let's go ahead and take this, then hold... not huddle. Hold and light lamp. That would be my cat. She is right up against my face because she wants attention. All right, let's go ahead and turn around. I'm going to light the Scarecrow on fire. So I'm going to say burn with lamp. Oh, right. I forgot. It's going to... Right. I don't think I have it set up, actually, to trigger on the last one. So give me a second here. This will actually be interesting. I'm not sure what will happen if it has multiple interactions. So let's go to light. Where are you? Light. There you are. Output. So this is going to be light. Cat, I can't see my screen. You got to move. All right. So let's go ahead and close that. So we have 3 outputs. We'll actually have 4 in the final version. Because when you try to burn the Scarecrow, I want to make sure the player knows, hey, if you do this, you probably will die. And then if you try again, it'll say it's not a good idea. 3rd time, seriously, not something you should do. And then if you do it a 4th time, it'll actually, oops, hold and light lamp. There we go. Yeah, Scarecrow is not probably a shining example of English creativity. So we're going to say burn with lamp. Yeah, that's what I was a little worried about. Huh? Oh, right. Need to do that real quick. Hold on. Here we are. So we need to say if burn mesh does not equal null. Then we're going to do all that stuff. But I think what we're actually going to have to end up doing here is instead of having one big particle effect, we're going to have a particle effect per row and a particle effect for the Scarecrow and specifically. Then we'll just light them all on fire. So it'd be a similar effect. It's just that we would be using a bunch of individual burning effects instead of one big one. So let's go ahead and press play here. And that might work out better anyway, because that actually means that if I did want to have it spread, then I could. Not that it matters. I don't know why I'm so concerned with the spreading stuff, because it's not like people will be able to see it, really. Actually, that's not true, because I'm willing to bet that some people will try to light stuff on fire here and then just try to see if it spreads down, and it will. Or at least I will try to make it do so. Okay, so let's try burn with lamp. That's what I was worried about. Oh, I was going to say, what happened? It's like, oh yeah, it only burns for like 10 seconds. So, yeah. That's the other thing, is that currently the way it's set up, it'll only destroy the object that I lit on fire, which is not actually good enough. I need to destroy the entire wheat field when I burn it. So, this is going to... Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. Yeah. So I'm going to switch to a different approach. We're going to have a different burn effect, or we're going to have a individual burn effect per row of wheat, and then one for the scarecrow. And what we'll do is we'll have, this will be sort of a weird one. We're going to have our level manager listen for you lighting one of the rows of wheat or the scarecrow on fire. And then when you do so, it's going to say, okay, burn the rest of you. And it's going to light the rows in sequence, and then, you know, the scarecrow when it gets to it. So everything will be nice and sequentially. I'm going to trademark that word, sequentially. Okay, then, die, suicidal maniac. Yeah, that's pretty good. Or just use flamethrowers. That's very true. Maybe I should get the same song that plays in Far Cry 3 when you attack the weed farm. That actually would be pretty funny. Anyway, hello Ryan, welcome back. How are you today? You came in on a good one. We're burning things today. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna switch to a different method. So we're gonna go ahead and let's see, wheat field, wheat row. Now I'm willing to bet, yep, none of that's set up. So we're actually gonna have to populate this real quick. So let's go to design. Oh, crud. That means I need to come up with... Oh, that's gonna suck. I'm gonna need... No. That's gonna suck. No, they're gonna share one. Okay. I was gonna say I probably should have individual IDs for each row of wheat, but that would be dumb because, again, if you leave in the middle of the wheat field burning, it doesn't matter if it got all the way to the end of the wheat field. All of it's going to be gone when you come back. So, okay, we'll let that happen. It's my day off tomorrow. Nice. Yeah, days off don't really exist anymore. At least not for me. So we're going to say wheat field burning, wheat field burned. That's going to be 325 and 326. Hans, get the flamethrower. Is that Die Hard? That's not Die Hard. There weren't flamethrowers in Die Hard. Besides, Hans Gruber wouldn't be getting orders, so nope, that's not Die Hard. It totally feels like something from Die Hard, but it's not. Also, we're going to go ahead and download this. So, download as. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know you could do version history. That's kind of cool. Comma separated values. And then we're going to have to go to interactions, overworld, planes. We're going to make a copy of this. And this should probably be under objects. Yeah. I'm going to move this under there. I'm guessing the rest of it's probably archived. So interactions, and then there should be one for wheat row. There we go. Oh, and actually, you know what? While I'm in there, I'm going to go ahead and open up. Maybe. Here we are. Wheat stock. And let's go back to objects, and we're going to start filling in this information. Origin 9gag. Including the flame Wi-Fi. Okay. Okay then. I'm assuming that's fun German puns. So let's go ahead and grab this. Paste that in there. We're going to need all of this stuff. Wheat row. Go to verbs. Oh wow, this is, yep, that's how old it is. It's got 20 or 24 verbs. Oh man, it's super old. Oh jeez. Super old. Go ahead and grab those, and let's get rid of some stuff that we don't need. Delete. 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 I've been watching Death Note, by the way, so this kind of brings back memories. The TV show, not the bad movie. The movie was terrible. Although Willem Dafoe was really good, but that's not saying much. Willem Dafoe is always good. All right, so let's go back here. Wheat row. So those are our eat and drink ones. Paste those in. Have them wrap. Let's see. Origin 4chan. Well, either way. Either way, it's something awful. Ha ha ha! Sorry, I couldn't resist. So this is just going to be only text fail. Let's go ahead and... Right, this one's actually different. So add to inventory, and then we have to go to, I believe, obtainable items. And the item is going to be wheat stock, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Where are you? Where are you? Here we are. So item ID. Do I really not? Huh. Okay. I gotta add that. I'm just gonna call it wheat stock for now. And actually, let me go ahead and make sure that it's, yeah, okay, so it's using the underscore system. Wheat stock. Verb will be take. Output will be default. Or how about, actually, output will be got some wheat. .id, none, amount will be 1, obtain once, false? That should be fine. We haven't really had the obtainable items in a while. Well, you've made some progress, so that's good. In any case, let me grab this. Right, so we're gonna have our similar things here. So let's go ahead and grab this. Burning down a wheat field seems a tad excessive. We're gonna paste that in, and then we're gonna do commas. So commas separate outputs, which lets me have basically sequential outputs. So if you try the same thing multiple times, you can actually get different outputs depending on what you do. So we're going to say burning down a wheat field seems a tad excessive the first time. And what should be the second one? What if you need that wheat later? And then finally, fine. Oh, gotta do quotes here. Hold on. Fine. Burn it all. All right. So let's go. To find the bucket where a value is, it's very easy. Hash percent bucket count, index in the array. Oh, nice. You just use a modulus. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Jomega. Hopefully, all the burning was a little bit entertaining for you. Can justify staying up a little late. Let's go ahead and copy this. Sorry, we got to fill in this information. I completely forgot about the wheat before the Devstream. Otherwise, I would have populated this all ahead of time. Let's go ahead and call this lower name. Nope, not lower nom, lower name. Lower name. Let's go ahead and grab this. So that's our hit. And freaking need to wrap. That's a terrible pun. All right, so everything else. Oh wait, no, we actually need to do this. So temporary. How long do you think it takes for a wheat field to burn? Asking for a friend. 15 seconds? I mean, I actually assume it would take much longer, but 15 seconds seems like a good amount. So let's go ahead and go to data IDs. So we have wheat field burning and wheat field burned for our data IDs here. So wheat field burning, wheat field burned. And now we need the info, which is already done. So wheat. I don't know why I did that. That's really dumb of me, but I still did it, so whatever. Because technically the plural of wheat is wheat. And I'm not going to worry about the wheat stock stuff for now. We should be good here. Do I have item checks? Hiccups. All right. Everything else should be good. Oh, right. Okay, good. I've already set that up. And plane's sign is the same as well. It's set to be light. Light. There we go. I always forget I need to set my light verb to have a light effect. Otherwise, it won't do anything. So, all right. Let's go ahead and download this, and we should be able to start burning wheat fields. So, replace existing files, unwrap single row sheets, export cell arrays, export sheet arrays, and we should be good. So, we're going to let that go. And compile. Shazam. There we go. Let's go ahead and download that. Download. And let's see, it's going to go here. Go to downloads. That was called wheat field, I think, or wheat row. Let's go ahead and do this. We can delete the original. Okay, we'll put this in the base planes. All right. So let's go ahead and apply U. Let's clear this out. Hit update. Everything's good. That's nice. Oh, crud. Dang it. I forgot. I gotta update this. Did I already download that? Yep. It's gonna be under data ID planes. Delete. And Shazam, that's updated, so let's refresh. Cool. Let's try refreshing this again. There we go. Worf them flames, baby. I feel like, so that's German, right? So I need to be pronouncing that differently. It's not Werf, it's going to be like Werf or something. I don't know. I'm not good with German. So, all right. We're going to go up here. We can probably actually make it itself, can't we? Yay! I love it when I can do it like that. That makes it much easier. Oh, crud. I need to set that. All right, we're going to do some quick custom editor stuff. Get rid of you. Get rid of some of our door and complex stuff because we don't need that right now. And all right, so let's go to interactive object inspector. All right, let's see, burn effect. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that. Burn mesh, is that what I called it? Yeah, burn mesh. Sweet. Let's copy this, paste it in. We're looking for burn mesh. Burn mesh. And then we just need to draw that. So let's see, draw buttons, draw info, add name, draw verb. Oh geez, this is gonna be a nightmare. Let's just go up here. Let's see, draw buttons, draw info, draw verbs. And of course I'm not actually doing that. So, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Is it just in the base draw info? Did I really do it that way? Oh, I did. Okay. Well, whatever. So let's go ahead and say permanent temporary. Just go ahead and paste this in. Go down here. And ta-da! Cool. So now I can take that, and now we'll actually have that field. So I won't have to keep going into debug mode. Yay! because I hate having to go into debug on the inspector to actually set field values. That drives me nuts. Shazam. Alright, so the model is just going to be the mesh filter. And then our burn effect. We are still going to have a custom one, but now it's going to be a little different. So, oh. Sorry. I just realized that we're going to have a harder time doing that for our scarecrow because it's not a mesh. It's a sprite. Not sure what to do about that. I guess I could just make a custom one for the scarecrow. That wouldn't be too bad. Or I can try to find some other model, but that's fine for now. We'll worry about that in a little bit. Alright, so fire effect. Let's go ahead and set one up. So we're going to come up here to our wheat field. It's going to be our model. So we're going to change this a little bit. So it's no longer going to be our box shape. It's going to be our mesh renderer. And for the sake of testing, I'm going to make it this. Is that really it? What the heck? Like, there's almost no burning going on right here. Oh, my scale is also way off. That's probably why. There we go. That looks more correct. I was like, how can I possibly have 400 particles and it looks so sparse? Yeah, that might need to be toned down a little bit. So let's have everything. So our red will go down to emission. Let's go to 60. You will go down to 100, and our actual burn effect will go down to 40. That I could maybe have it again. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and have it again, because I'm going to have a single one of these per row. So they're going to stack. They're going to stack noticeably. Cat, why do you need to constantly get up in my face while I'm streaming? All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and have this again. So, 20. Oops, change my DPI. 50 and 30. Yeah, that looks good. So, that's one row times 27. Oh my goodness. That's a lot. Just in case you were curious, that is a lot of particles. That is at least several particles. Maybe tens of particles. Yeah, this is gonna be nuts. I'm hoping it won't be that performant, or I'm hoping it will be performant. I'm hoping it won't be that much of a performance hit. So let's go ahead and stop that. Let's go ahead and add our mesh components. So we'll say mesh. So we need a mesh filter, a mesh renderer. Then we'll just go ahead and apply this mesh filter. And I think we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and change our shape to be the wheat fields mesh renderer. That way we can actually do everything. And we should be good after that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Let's go ahead and delete you. And then we'll drag you in, hit save. And I should be able to just apply these changes and have them propagate. Hooray! Oh my goodness, though, this is going to be like a massive amount of burning once we actually set this all up to work. And let me double check this real quick. We are also going... Oh. Did I not? Surely I did. Surely I was not stupid enough to not make this. And I was. I was stupid enough to not make that. Okay. So let's go ahead and redo that. Call that light. That's fine. We'll manually change this for now. So we're going to change this a little bit. So we need to go to our interactive object. So currently, whenever you try to burn something, if the effect is light, it's just going to burn it. but we actually need to make sure that we are at the end of our verb chain, basically. Like, we don't want it to, as soon as you type burn things, unless that's the only output that you have. So in other words, if we have multiple outputs that you have to dig through, you need to get to the end of them before you can actually burn stuff. So, all right. This is going to be somewhat of a challenge. So I don't actually know if I have a convenient way of checking this. If verb.outputs. See, I don't think I have a exposed output index here. Crud. I could expose that as a public getter. So let's go ahead and say public int output index, and then get return output index. So we could do that, and then we can just say if verb dot output index is equal to verb dot outputs dot count -1, I believe. Then we will actually ignite it. So let's try that, because otherwise it should just say what it needs to say, basically. So this is going to be a challenge. It's actually going to be a really big challenge. Frack. Okay. So I think right now we'll be able to properly burn the wheat row and the scarecrow individually, but I don't think we'll be able to burn the entire wheat field right now. So we're gonna have to set that up next. So hold and light lamp. Burn with lamp. Oh, I forgot to set up the lantern part of it. Of course I did. That just means that we can do this. Uh-oh. No, you're not doing it. Why aren't you doing it? Hold on. Verb. Output index. Do you never get incremented? No, you have to be incremented. Yeah, right there. Oh. Okay. Let me double check. Interactive object. So we're going to say -2. That makes sense, I suppose. So I have to do the whole -2 thing because of how verbs increment themselves. Because we're always going to, we're going to, basically the output value that we're looking at is going to always be at least 1 less than its true output value, and we need to do -2 because the verb doesn't actually set that value in a way that's expected. It's kind of a terrible system. I probably should refactor it. Let's go ahead and take hold and light lamp. All right, burn. I can't type. Keep going and all right, time to throw in the debugs. So we're going to debug both of these things. So debug.log. So we're going to debug the individual value. Oops. Plus this, plus this. What the heck? Why are you so... There we go. All right. So now we should be able to see those two values to make sure that they're correct. I'm not doing something where if it's not... Yeah, it's just if output index is less than that, output index plus. Interesting. All right. Well, let's take a look at this. So we should, at the very least, be able to tell if it's happening. because I really want to light my freaking field on fire by the end of today. No, I don't need to do that. I can just burn stuff. I'm gonna be wait, not a pyromaniac. I mean, that would be true. Pyrokinetic, pyrokinesis. Yeah, whatever. Burn, burn, and burn. Okay, nothing fired. That's good. Actually, it's terrible, but you know. Let's take a look at our first wheat field. Oh, is it because I changed the wrong one? Actually, it is. It's because I changed the wrong one. Okay. Let's go ahead and apply those changes. All right. So let's try that again. Alrighty then. Come on, I want to burn my wheat field. Because it will be so beautiful. Oh, what the heck happened there? Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, I know what it was. Okay, hold on. We gotta grab our wheat field here. I need to set my materials here to be 0. There we go. That'll fix it. So I basically want the mesh information without the mesh renderer, which probably actually means that I can just pass the mesh itself. That might actually work. Well, no, I have to have the stupid mesh renderer reference because I can't directly set a mesh from or through script because particles are apparently stupid in Unity. Okay, so I was mistaken before. I had forgotten how my own system worked. So we don't need that to be 2. We do need it to be -1 though. All right. So we're on the first. We're almost done with the first third of our wheat field burning. After this, we need to essentially. Well, should I have an event for that? We essentially need to listen for one of the wheat field rows to be burned, and then once we do that, we need to figure out how to cascade out. So that's going to be fun. So burn, burn, and burn. Yes, it's beautiful. It's also very loud. So yeah. And that's another thing. Yep, we're gonna have to do real-time lighting for all of them. Dang, that's gonna be really annoying. So, because if we don't hiccups, sorry. If we don't have real-time lighting set up for objects that can be destroyed, then this is gonna happen where their shadows stay behind. And you know, in the wheat field, it's not particularly bad, but you know, other areas are going to be much more noticeable and much worse about it. So we do need to fix that, unfortunately. So in any case, let's go ahead and stop playing. I'm going to come up here to our planes level manager, and I'm going to come up here, and okay, so we're going to say public interactive object wheat rows. It's a new interactive object of 0. Oh yes, and I need to go to interactive, not the inspector, just the interactive object part. Do I have an ignite event? I don't, but I probably should add one, so I'm going to do so. Public delegate void ignite, or actually I'm going to call it light event. Interactive object interaction, and then a bool value for is lit, and then we're just going to say public event light event on ignition, on ignited, I guess. It's equal to delegate, then public event ignite event on extinguished is equal to delegate. All right. So we're going to come down to our actual ignition and or ignite and extinguish functions and add those events. I scrolled right past them. Output result, here we are. On extinguish. This false. Actually, you know what? I guess I don't need to pass that value, do I? So we can come up here and get rid of is lit. Okay, we can come back down here and else on ignited this. The reason I'm doing an else there is because if we're in a actually no, that doesn't need to be in a coroutine. So yeah, that's always just going to fire as soon as you burn stuff. All right. Right. And yeah, I mean, it could be interpreted as dark dirt or like the ashen remains of the wheat field, which is also something that I need to consider whenever you burn stuff. It probably should have like a little pile of dust or ash, I suppose. But that just gets into how much I want to put effort into this, really. So, okay, so that should be good. Let's go back to our planes manager. All right. Let's go ahead and say override start, and this is where it's going to be interesting. So we're going to say, actually, no, I'm going to make this a list too instead of an array because I need to get its index. So using system.collections.generic. All right, so it's equal. I did this completely wrong. List interactive object wheat rows is equal to new list interactive object. It's all good. And let's see here. So I'm going to need a private void on wheat row burned. Interactive object row. We're going to say int index is equal to wheat rows dot index of row. Okay. So after that, we're going to need basically once we know what our wheat row that's burning is, we're going sorry, let me rephrase that. Once a wheat row starts to burn, our planes manager will detect that, and then it will stop listening to all the burning events, and then basically sequentially start burning outwards from that wheat row. So if you burn on the very edge of the field over here, when it'll sequentially go further and further into the field, and if you start in the middle, it'll spread outwards both ways, and we need to accurately burn the scarecrow once it reaches the scarecrow's rows. So we'll have to have an extra int value there so we know where it should approximately start burning. So let's go ahead and say public int scarecrow row index. And good God, I honestly do not know what it should be. About 16? It's equal to 16 by default. That seems correct. So I'll also tooltip this stuff because it's good and it lets me not forget things. So we're going to say the approximate row index for, we'll say wheat row. Wheat index for scarecrow to start burning at. Tips. The rows of wheat in the wheat field. That is such an obvious tooltip, but whatever. We're also going to go ahead and say on this on wheat burned, for int I is equal to 0, I is less than wheat rows. Oops, okay, that didn't work. Wheat rows dot count I plus plus. And we're just going to say wheat rows of I dot on ignited minus equals on wheat row burned. Simple as that. And we're going to basically do the same thing down here. Except we're actually going to have a safety check, because if it's already been burned down, then I don't need to do that. So let's go ahead and say public data ID wheat burned ID is equal to data ID dot none. So we're going to say if not session dot get bool wheat burned ID, then we're just going to do that. So if you haven't already burned the wheat field, then we'll assign those listeners. Otherwise, we don't care. There's no reason to listen for something that's already been burned. All right. So here's where here's the fun part. Okay, we're gonna need a float. So public float spread delay. And we're gonna make that a short number, like 0.25. So it's gonna be pretty quick. And we're gonna say tooltip how fast the fire spreads from row to row of wheat or where. There we go. All right. So now we're going to need a coroutine too, which means I'm going to have to come up here and say using system.collections. Come down to here. Private enumerator. Burn field coroutine. All right. So let's see here. We're going to say float t is equal to 0f while, oh crap, it's actually going to be, oh, this is very annoying. Okay. Give me a second here. So we're going to say int min index is equal to 0. Int max index is equal to 0. And then we're going to say while min index does not equal 0 and or max index does not equal wheat rows dot count. Just do this. And then we're going to need float t, all that fun stuff. And let me think. We're actually going to need this index, aren't we? So we're going to say int start index. All right, so min index is going to be start index, as is max index. Start index. All right, so we're essentially going to start spreading outwards. So I need to have two different indexes to know what wheat rows, that's really hard to say, to burn, and I have to increment that every so many seconds, or I guess in my case, quarter of a second. So we're going to say while t is less than spread delay, t plus equals time dot delta time, yield return null. All right, and then after that, we will essentially say, min index minus minus and start index plus plus. No, not start index plus plus, I'm sorry. Max index. Why are you, oh, right, there we go. Sorry, I was like, why is there still a squiggle? Okay. And essentially what we're going to want to do here is we're just going to say if min index does not equal start index, then we'll say wheat rows of, oops, not I, of min index dot ignite. Wait, what? No, I thought I made that public. Yep, I didn't. Who bloody right. Well, it's going to be public now. Public. Okay. I thought I made those both public, but apparently I didn't. Which is just wonderful, because that means that I need to find its... Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Wait, really? Torch must have its own. No way. There it is. I'll say. I know that I overrode these. Public. Okay, and does that mean it was just above it? Yep, there it is. Public. Public. All right, I think we're good there. Let's come back here, and we're going to say dot ignite. So we're going to force them to ignite in sequence. All right, thanks for stopping by, Ryan. Sorry we couldn't get to all of the row burning before you had to leave. Either way, always happy to talk. Have fun on your day off tomorrow. So this is going to be max index. And we're going to say if max index does not equal start index. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and say if min index does not equal, is greater than 0, then min index minus, and then if max index is less than wheat rows dot count -1, I believe. No, I guess just leave. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And that should almost do it. So next we're going to go ahead and say if max index, well, if mathf dot absolute of min index minus scarecrow row index is, well, no, you know what? I'll just go ahead and say if min index is equal to scarecrow index or max index is equal to scarecrow index, we'll go ahead and say, I need a reference to the scarecrow, don't I? Ooh, that could cause problems, but for now it's fine, I suppose. So public interactive object scarecrow. Let's go ahead and say scarecrow crow dot ignite. All right, and I think that's actually going to do it. So we're just going to say start coroutine, burn field coroutine, and then index. That should do it. So let's go ahead and let that compile. Then we're gonna have to assign a bunch of stuff in debug mode, of course, but well, what are you gonna do? Da, 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 da. I will finish this. I will burn my wheat field before the end of the night. All right, so let's go ahead and go to debug mode, and we need to assign all this. So, oh, that's going to be incredibly annoying. Well, I just won't test that for now. Scarecrow, you go there, and then I'm going to go ahead and lock this so that I can do this. I'm so glad that it kept all of that in order. I was really worried that it wouldn't. All right, let's go back to unlock and normal mode. So, all right, let's. I'm gonna put in a debug just in case. Debug.log test 2. Okay, now is the moment of truth to see what happens. Because I think everything is set up now so that we can burn it in sequence. At least I really hope it is. Alright, so take. I don't need to do that though. So we're going to go all the way up here. Burn. 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 Yes! It spreads! Ah, I love it when a plan comes together. That's good. That's just so satisfying. Yeah, that's a good place to end for the night. Oh, it's so satisfying. Definitely need some tweaks, like we need to make the models not just pop out of existence, they need to dissolve, but oh, that is so nice. That is something that I've been wanting to do for 2 years. It finally happened. That feels good. Okay. Oh, you're interesting. Why are you still here? Huh. Interesting. All right, so I don't need this. But that does raise questions about why our fire effect does not recycle itself. Oh, is it because I didn't tell it to? That would be a good reason. Let's look for our burn effect wheat field. Wait, what? Oh no, recycle is part of the extinguish. Okay. Let's go to interactive object. Yeah, I totally set that to be true. Interesting. Cycle coroutine. Huh. So while there's still some particles, so it just never finishes? That's odd. Alright, well, either way, that's going to have to be a GIF. So I can't do that on stream. Normally I like to take pictures, but... Alright, I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. So, announcements. We should be good to go on the weekend dev stream, so we'll be back on Saturday around 3 p.m. Eastern Time to do some custom content creation stuff. And I am also going to try and do dev streams on, or do a dev stream on Sunday this week. I would like to start doing Sunday dev streams for things like art. So those are going to be a little bit different. They're going to be less me talking and more me just listening to music and doing art. So look forward to those. I haven't picked out a time yet on Sunday that I want to do that, but that's going to be a thing. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. And end while you're at a high point. And I honestly can't think of a much higher point than burning an entire wheat field in sequence. Oh, that's so beautiful. So, all right. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.